Good morning, friends. We are learning our subject Python for Data Science 3150713. And in that, we want to learn our module 1, that is Overview of Python and Data Structure. Myself, Dr. Amit Tushar Khan Choksi. I'm working as Associate Professor and Head of Computer Engineering Department of your and our institute, that is C.K. Pitawala College of Engineering and Technology, right? So, as I want to teach this subject, first of all, we should know Python, right? So, what Python is, what are the specialities of it, and many more things. But before that, let me tell you that what Python certifications I myself hold. Why I want to say that which certifications I hold, it is because you yourself can learn that these certifications are helpful to you in your future. See, Python for data science is the hottest branch these days. Very good, very good salary you can get if you are having the expertise with Python for data science. And for that, few certifications I myself have done. So let me tell you that I have done the Coursera project, and that was on perform sentiment analysis with scikit-learn. Then second one was one more guided project that was on data visualization with Python. The third one, that was the introduction to data science in Python, that was also Coursera course. Then we can say that NPTEL course and IIT Madras course, that was Python for data science, and in that I secured top 6 percentage of the certified candidates. Secured gold medal in NPTEL and IIT Roper initiated course titled Joy of Computing Using Python, a very good course. In that also I secured top 6 percentage in the certified candidates. This IIT Roper course, that is Joy of Computing Using Python, they have arranged the competition while the course was going on for preparing the material, whatever they are teaching. In that I got the first rank. Okay, so I am telling you few certifications which you yourself can do and can get expertise with our subject, right? And not only with the expertise with the subject, you can get very good job. You can start your startup business and you can grow as you want, right? See, two more certifications I did, that was of IIT Kanpur. Okay, so you yourself can do that. What are the books we have to use in this particular subject? That is, you can say Introduction to Computation and Programming using Python. Then you can say Core Python Programming. Then you can say Core Python Programming. One more is there. Then after data structures and algorithms in Python, fundamentals of Python, first programs, then you can say professional Python, and many more books are there. These are the basic books. Some more books are also there which are found in the new syllabus of our Python for data science subject. So all of you know that we can open that from the gtu.ac.in, and you can say from that academic syllabus, right? So you can see more books for our subject. What we want to learn in this particular module, that is basics of Python, including the data types, variables, expressions, data structures, right? This is what we want to learn in this particular module. So let us see. So introduction to Python, installation of Python, programming with Python, that is starting, then control loops, control statements, functions, data types, then many more things we want to study, that is files, then the higher order functions, exceptions, all those things we want to learn in this particular module, right? Okay, so let us start with Python for data science, a very nice subject, very interesting, and you can see that very good job or very good startup you can do with this subject's expertise. Okay, so Python. Python is a snake. Is a snake? See, we are talking of our language, right? Okay. So Python is an interpreted high-level general purpose programming language. Data science. What is data science? Data science is an interdisciplinary field that uses scientific methods, processes, algorithms, and systems to extract knowledge and insights from many structural and unstructured data. Data science is related to data mining, deep learning, and big data. Data science is a field of study that combines domain expertise, programming skills, and knowledge of mathematics and statistics to extract meaningful insights from data. Data science practitioners apply machine learning algorithms to numbers, text, images, video, audio, and more to produce artificial intelligence systems to perform tasks that ordinarily require human intelligence. In turn, these systems generate insights which analysts and business users translate into tangible business value, right? So let us study in detail about Python. Okay, Python is interpreted. Interpreted. We used to say that the language is compiled or interpreted, right? This is what we used to say. C is compiled language, isn't it? Python is interpreted. Python is processed at runtime by the interpreter. You do not need to compile your program before executing it, and which is similar to that of Perl and PHP. So, if I want to write the program and put on the Windows or put on the Linux, it doesn't matter, it will run smoothly. Why? Because it is interpreted one. If you are having the C language, at that time, there also no issue. The same program will run on Windows and on Linux. So what is the difference? Let me tell you that C is compile language. So what we do is typically we compile it and we create the executable file. Now this executable file will run only on Windows and it will not run on Linux, right? That means C is compile language, but for that, on Linux, if we want to run, we need to have different compiler and we need to have different runner for that, right? Same way on Windows, but for Python, it is not required because it is interpreted language. Python is interactive. One can interact with the interpreter directly to write your programs. Python is object oriented. specialty. Python supports object-oriented style or technique of programming that encapsulates code within object. It is easy to learn. Python has few keywords, simple structure, and a clearly defined syntax. It allows the student to pick up the language quickly, right? Easy to read. Python code is more clearly defined and visible to the eyes. We'll see the code, we can have the idea, isn't it? But let us know the characteristics first, right? Next is easy to learn. Python source code is fairly easy to maintain. A broad standard library, that is the goodness, or you can say it is the best thing about the Python. Python's bulk of the library is very portable and cross-platform compatible on Unix, Windows, and Macintosh. Interactive mode. Python has support for an interactive mode which allows interactive testing and debugging of snippets of the code. It is portable. Python can run on a wide variety of hardware platforms and has the same interface on all platforms. It is extendable. What do we mean by that? You can add low-level modules to the Python interpreter. These modules enable programmers to add to or customize their tools to be more efficient. Databases. Python provides interfaces to all all major commercial databases. Wow. GUI programming. Python supports GUI applications that can be created and ported to many systems calls, libraries, and Windows systems such as Windows MFC, Macintosh, and X Window system of Unix. It is scalable. That is, Python provides a better structure and support for large programs than shell scripting. Easy integration. It can be easily integrated with C, C++, Form, ActiveX, Corba, and Java. It supports functional and structured programming methods as well as object-oriented programming. It can be used as a scripting language or can be combined to to that is it can be compiled, sorry, not combined, compiled to bytecode for building large applications. It provides very high level dynamic data types and supports dynamic type checking. It supports automatic garbage collection, which is also the characteristic of our Java language. It supports exception handling too. Great. Many features Python is having, isn't it? So how we should install the Python? For that, see, typically we are having the Windows and Ubuntu, isn't it? So for that, we can say that from say python.org/downloads. From that, you can download the exe file, that is the latest version, and then after, what you can do is you can install that, right? On Ubuntu, from the terminal, you can have the sudo apt-get install python 3.8 or otherwise you can download the tar.gz file from the python.org/downloads, extract it, and then after you can say with the help of super user we can install it, right? Whether it is installed or not, that we can always check with the help of say rpm -qa python. Okay, so depends on which system you are using, we can use the query, right? Or otherwise you can always try for say terminal, check it out, python, and enter whether you are able to get something or not, or whether you are getting the error. It tells you that whether python is installed on your system or not, right? So here we can say that python.org/downloads. I've shown you the screen, right? For Windows, you can say you can select the Python 3.8.2, right? Whatever is the latest version. Okay, when you open this, it may be having the other version. When I have taken the screenshot, at that time it was 3.8.2. If I am opening just now, it may be having some other version. Whatever is the latest that we should see, right? Okay. So typical way of programming. How do we write the program? Write the program, run it for some input. Is output okay? If no, write the program. If yes, more inputs. If no, finish. If yes, for more inputs, yes. Then run it with some input. If no, write the program. Right? This is a typical way of programming, isn't it? See, my material is based on whatever certifications I have done, and many more websites or many other books or anything can be there. But whatever certifications I have, what I have learned from that, you will find my material is based on, right? So let us start with programming with Python. How we can do that? We have installed Python, right? I will show you the way, right? So you can install that. Now, what should we do is, we should have the simple text editor and create a file that is test.py, and the content what we will write is there in our first program. Okay, the extension is always file. That is that key file. Okay, now if we are having the text editor, what we have to write? The first line is to provide the Python interpreter format, and that is hash exclamation, then space. You can give it as slash user slash bin slash Python. Okay, without space also you can specify. Then after, the first program typically we used to write is hello. So we are writing just print hello, and we are running that on the terminal that is using Python test.py, and we'll be getting the output as hello. Now, are we going to use the text editor? We are going to write the py files, and then after are we going to run them? No. For this subject, we are going to use the editors. For C also you were using the editor, right? Here also we are going to use the editor. So let us know about the Python language editors. Sublime Text. The from where to get it, the URL is given to you, right? Spider is there that you can install on Ubuntu as apt-get install spider. Python ideally for that we can say that sudo apt-get install what? Ideally, right? You can say why it is specific to Ubuntu installation. It is because in our lab we are having the Ubuntu, right? So that's what we are having. Then we can say PyCharm. This is also one of the editor. Jupyter Notebook. This is what we are going to use in our subject. Jupyter Notebook, right? And for that, we can say we have to go to www.anaconda.com/distribution. Okay, from that we can get the Jupyter Notebook. Okay, we'll install the Anaconda, and with that we'll get the Jupyter Notebook. Okay, now, so I'll show you the first program, right? That was print hello world. But how to run this? We should have the Jupyter notebook. Now, see, if you are having the Jupyter notebook installed on your laptop or PC, it is good. But if you are having say lower configuration PC, and other programs are already installed and you do not have much memory to install Jupyter Notebook, what you can do is you can use the freely available online editor, that is Google Laboratory, right? Google Laboratory. So let me open that. Uh, we should have the idea, right? How to open that. So for that, let me go to my Drive, because we are talking of the Google, right? So Gmail, my Gmail is open. ami.choksi@ckpcet.ac.in. It is already open. I'm opening my Drive, right? Here. Now, from this, all of us know that we can have the new. Then after here, you can say that Google Docs, Google Sheet, Google Slides, more. In fact, we are having the Google Form directory, right? So we can select that. It will say that create and share. It is asking for create and share because here whatever material I am having, that I have shared, right? That is why it is asking for create and share, right? So when you click on this, yeah, now we are having the untitled 0.ipynb. What we are having is I told you to create a file that is .python. And now here I am opening the file which is having extension as ipynb. So will it do? See, this is editor file, right? Wherein you can write your small programs and you can run them. Okay. So this is my Google Collaboratory open. Now here we are having say code cell and text cell. Code cell and text cell. If I want to write some text, let me write it here. Here, double click on that. I can write anything whatever I want. This is for command. Command that is three backward. Then after you can write whatever command you want to provide, and that is the same formatting it will follow. Is it Python command? No, it is not Python command. It is Excel. Excel inside that we want to show the text like this only. So for that we'll be providing the three backwards. Okay, this is the Excel. Excel is not going to run, but uh, say for my documentation, that is say your practical. Let me say that this is your first program. So I'll write it as say first print hello world. So this is my program statement. So that's what I'll write here. You can see how it will look like. That is over here. Now this second one is code cell. When you are having the code cell, you will be able to see something like this. That is triangle, but which is used to run this particular cell. But is it having anything here? No, it does not have. So what I'll do is I'll write the code here. That is print. This is Python code, okay? Hello. Sorry. World. This is hello world. Right? Now, what I have to do is either I can click on this triangle or otherwise you can see in the tooltip text that it is control enter, right? So either click on this, it will run this particular code, right? It is running, you can see that it is running, right? Yes, so this is the output, hello world, right? The output of this code is this one, right? So this is the first example I told you. Let me show you the new code. Yeah, here. For that, here I have prepared the format, right? I am delivering the lecture, so I'll be giving, say, subject name, subject code, module that is a chapter, department, right? College name, logo, right? These things I'll be showing you for my lecture notes. How will you do that for your practical assignment or for your theory assignments? You will create your IPY file, maybe using your Jupyter notebook or maybe using the Google Colab based on whatever facility you are having, right? But this first is with Excel, wherein say here I have provided my details, the same way you will provide your own details. In this subject, will be working in a group of two students, right? So both students' name, enrollment number you need to specify here. College name, department name, subject, and you need to say that guided by, or you can say submitted to Dr. Amity Sharpan Jackson, right? So this is the format you need to follow for your assignments. Okay. Okay, so let's see this our hello world, right? We can run this. We know we have already seen that, right? Print hello world, right? So in double quotes, we are writing hello world and we are able to see its output. Yeah, this is the output. Hello world, right? Okay. Now let us see. Yeah, some more. That is print value of a variable. I is equal to 5 or something is equal to some value and we want to print that, right? So for that, what is that in the Python? Variable is equal to 2. Wow. No integer character floatable? No need to worry about the type. Wow, great, isn't it? So do we have to write it as VAR only? No, it is not so. The way we are having the variable name in other languages, we can follow the same, right? So we can say that the alphabets are there. We can have the underscore, we can have the numbers, but number cannot be there at the first position, isn't it? That is, if I say that one VAR, can it be the real variable name? No, it cannot be. But VAR1 can be that, right? So the way we are using the rules for variable name in other language, the same we can use here, right? Okay, so variable is equal to print VAR. Is it printing the variable? No, it is only giving the text to us, right? Then comma VAR. That means it will print this VAR first Then after it will print the value of this variable. Okay, I'll show you in the editor how it runs so you can have the idea. No need to worry. Okay, so next I want to show that 2 plus 2 is equal to. So this is the text. When I'm writing it in double quotes, it will show me the text, comma, and whatever I am giving for that, I'll be getting the evaluation and the result. Okay. Same way here, print say 2 multiplied by 3 equal. This is the text because it is there in the double quotes. Then after 2 multiplied by 3, so its result will be printed. Here you can say double quotes, so the text will be there. And for this one, you can say the result will be there. Right? So let us see that in the Google Laboratory. Here variable is equal to 2. I need to run this. Then print variable, for that also I need to run that cell. So we are getting the output, that is variable space 2. Have we written? I think you can see this properly now, isn't it? Okay. So you can say print variable. This double quotes variable, we are able to get this VAR. But then after we are able to see one space. Before this two, the space is that. Is it available here? No, we haven't put the space. Still we are able to get. It is with the help of this comma and variable. It gives you the output. That is, you can say variable space 2. Now, when I put mouse on this, it shows me integer colon variable. There is a type of variable is integer. You can say we haven't specified anywhere, but the two value, what it says, it is of type integer, right? So that's what it shows here. This is Google Collaborator, right? Where it shows something like this. Now, if I want to run this, that is print 2 plus 2 equal to, and I want to get the output of 2 plus 2, I'll be running this. So getting the output as 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, right? Then print 2 multiplied by 3 is equal to, this is the text only will be printed. Then 2 multiplied by 3, that is the result it will be printed. This is the text and this is the output, right? So if I run this, you can say without running that also we are able to see the output. It is because this code was already run and it is showing you that output, right? It is showing you that output, okay? And if we want to change it, let me say that just now it is showing you 2 multiplied by 3 is 6, but now I want to change it. I want to say that I want to write it as 2 multiplied by 4 and I want to show you here, right? So now am I getting that output? No, for that I need to run. See, either I can press this triangle to run that or otherwise I can press Control Enter. Right, it is running. Now you can say 2 multiplied by 4, that is equal to 8, right? So we have changed the values, whatever we want for double quotes value printed, and we can say that whatever we need to get is the output, right? If you want to take the input from user, what should we do? That is, we should take it as input, enter your age. If you write it as enter your age, it will show you the text. It will take the input and store that in the variable that is num. And if you want to print that, we'll be printing it as print your age is now, right? And that comma is required and the variable name. Fine. Yes. Now one thing which you should have in your mind is in Python, input function always reads data in string format. So this num is of type string and it is not number. Are you getting that? Let me show you here. Taking the input, right? So what it gives you. It is asking for enter your age, whatever text we have returned here, right? So let me give the text. Is it text? You can see it is number. It is number, but the way it accepts is in the form of string. Okay, let me say, right? Now, is it printing something? No. You can say here it is printing, but that cell we have not yet run. Okay, let me give you the print type of what number. Let me run this. What it say? Class str. Class data type. See, in C we used to say it as data type. Here in Python we used to say it as class, right? We used to say it as class. We'll see that in detail. Just now we are only learning few small programs where we are taking the input, we are printing it, we are doing the simple multiplication, addition and those things. Right, so we can have the basic idea of our Python language. Okay. So now if we print that your age is this number, what it will give us, that is the 16, right? Whatever we have inputted, right? So find the type of number I just told you, right? But what I'm doing is directly I'm specifying the type. So what it gives me for that? It is type integer, right? If I give it as type -10, that also is integer. If I give it as 10.5, then it gives me it as float. You can see that you can run it. Then type true. Now here, true, T capital and false F capital is of type bool. Boolean whole is not there as a class, it is bool, right? So when I run this, I'll be getting it as bool, right? If I want to see the type of say hi Ami, then let us give it as type and provide the text inside that. Run it. You can see the type as the class string, right? If I consider the print type of 3 not equal to 2, that means logical expression is there, isn't it? 3 is not equal to 2. Yes, it is true, isn't it? But that true is typed as Boolean, isn't it? So it is giving us Boolean, right? Now we want to know about the type conversion. Before that, let us see elements of Python. A Python program is a sequence of definitions and commands. Commands manipulate objects. Each object is associated with a type. So what are the standard data types in Python language? For that, we can say numbers, string, list, tuple, sets, dictionary, scalar, non-type, non-scalar. What are all this? Let's see them. Numbers, that means integer, float, long, something like that. String, that means besides numbers, Python can also manipulate strings which can be expressed in several ways. They can be enclosed in single quote or double quotes with the same result can be used to accept to escape quotes. Single quote in C language, if you are giving single quote C, it is character. If I write in double quotes, it is string, isn't it? But here in Python, if you are writing in single quote or you're writing in double quote, it is string. Wow, great. So no need to worry about single and double quote. Fine. Cool language, isn't it? List. It consists of a number of values separated by commas, like 1, comma 2, comma 3, comma 4, comma 5. But it is in the square bracket. For list, we can say 1, comma 2, comma 3, comma 4, comma 5. We can have that inside the square bracket. That is called the list. It is an ordered collection of values. That means the way it is inserted in the list, the same way it will come out of it. Right? Tuple. It consists of a number of values separated by commas. Is it similar to list? Till this point it is. But the list was in the square bracket and tuple is there in the parenthesis. Right? Got the difference? List is also having the consist of number of values separated by commas. Tuple also have the same, but list is there in the square bracket. Tuple is there in the parenthesis. And one more is tuples cannot be changed like list. It cannot be changed. So what's the value of it? What's the need of it? It is specific. We'll see. You can say that you want to have something like dictionary. What dictionary? Am I talking of the Python language dictionary? No. What I am saying is a general dictionary where we are having the word and its meaning. That dictionary, if we want to implement, we can use the tuple because that is not going to be changed, right? Okay. If you want to add something in the tuple, then it is not changeable, right? It is not changeable. You cannot change it. So if you want to change that, what to do? You have to convert the tuple to list, change it, convert it back to tuple, right? This is what you have to do. Otherwise, tuple is not changing, right? Sets. They are ordered collection of data separated by comma. This is common for list, tuple, sets. So now it is there in curly braces, right? List is there in square bracket. Tuple is there in the parenthesis and sets are there in the curly braces. Union, intersection, difference like operations can be operated on the sets. Dictionary one more time. What it is? It is a set of key. This is we are talking of Python dictionary, okay? This is not our normal Oxford dictionary, okay? Fine. Okay, so in Python, a data structure is there. That is dictionary. What it is having is, it is having a set of key value pairs in curly braces with the requirement that the keys are unique. The keys are unique. That is what is the requirement of dictionary. Okay. Other data types, scalar and non-scalar are also available in Python. So what are they? Scalar, that means objects that do not have internal structure like integer, sign integer, float, that is floating point, bool, that is boolean, none type, these are the scalar types. which do not have the internal structure. Okay, none type is a special type with a value, and that value is none. Okay, none type is a special type and where it is having the value as none. Next is the non-scalar. Objects having internal structure. The objects which are having the internal structure, they are called the non-scalar. Strings, list, tuples, dictionaries, sets, and user-defined classes are non-scalar type, right? Now, if we want to know about the type of whatever argument we are passing, we just have to use it as type and inside that provide the value. Okay. So here we have written and the output also I have shown. But instead of showing you here, it is preferred I show you in the editor, isn't it? So let me show you here. First of all, print. Type of two. Let me run this. It says int, right? If I say it is 2.5 and run this, I'll be able to see it as float. If I write it as double quotes 2, then str. You can say why str 2 is number only, but it is written inside double quotes. Let me show you the single quote also. Why to write only double, right? This also is str, isn't it? So with the type and you can say specify the number or the text, it will show you the type of that particular text, right? Whether it is text or number or whatsoever, right? Now, we want to do the type conversion. That is, we want to convert one type to other. For example, integer of 3.6 is 3 or rounded to 4. Float value of 3 is 3.0, right? So let's see the type conversion. For that, we'll be using the typecasting as we used to use in, say, Java or any other language. But there we used to write like, say, integer. If I want to convert number to integer, we used to write it as in the parenthesis integer and then we are writing the number, isn't it? I mean to say, for type conversion, typically in our other languages, we used to write like this, integer of say 2.5, isn't it? We used to write like this, but this is Python, right? Here it is not like this. You can delete this cell, right? Let me show you the type conversion. Here, if I want to convert 2.5 to integer, I can use it as integer of 2.5. So run this. Get the output, right? That is 2. 2.5 is converted to integer and its output is 2. Same way for this integer of 2.3. So 2 will be the integer part of this number, okay? Print print integer 3.9. So we'll be getting it as 3. Float 3 will be getting it as 3.0. Integer of 75, that will give us 75 only because it is already integer, right? If I give it as integer of ABCD, let me run this. Value error. Invalid literal for integer width is 10, right? ABCD is not converted to the integer, fine? and it gives us the value error. Now let us input the string. We want to take the input, right? We want to take the input. So for that, let's see the input enter number. That means what? We have to provide something here. So it has given something? No, it hasn't given anything, right? Now what is that? This is 7, right? What it is? Integer, isn't it? 7 is integer, but the way Python is taking is string. We can see that using type of A. What it is? It is str, isn't it? Now what I'm doing here is a plus 5. A plus 5, that means I expect it should be 7 plus 5. 7 plus 5, that means 12 should be there. But as this 7 is type of string, it will give us the error, and it will say us that can only concatenate str to str and not the integer. Fine? Getting it? So that's all for today.